call the EDA meeting to order. So Nate, if you want to call roll.
Yes. Commissioner Hubbard.
Here.
Commissioner Wong.
Here.
Commissioner Graw.
Here.
President Pro Tem Hatfield.
Here.
And President Winschittle is absent tonight.
All right, so move on to adopting the agenda. Just one thing on it. Any
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
motion by Commissioner Hubbard,
Second.
second by Commissioner Graw. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Agenda adopted. All right, moving on to approving the previous meeting minutes from the EDA meeting on July 19th. Any corrections or additions to those? If not, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the July 19th meeting minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Hubbard,
Second.
second by Commissioner Wong to approve the July 19th meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right. Those are approved. All right, moving on to our discussion item, letter of intent with Lariat companies for 3.72 acres of land at Chaska Boulevard and Fire Lane, which is where the former building center site was.
I'll turn this over to Nate.
President Pro Tem and Commissioners, the item in front of you tonight is a letter of intent. This is with a group that staff have been working with for the last few months for the site that is off of Fire Lane and Chaska Boulevard. So this is thinking back to the former Chaska Building Center site, which is now home to DDK and the cabinet shop, and then Formicote next door, which would be the most recent redevelopment that occurred on the site. So as you continue to march east, we now have what is a blank property there. That property with the Formicote project was cleared of all the cement and bituminous and everything that was there previous. So right now you just see, we'll call them wildflowers to make it sound nice, growing there right now. So what is being proposed for that remaining piece is on that 3.72 approximate acre site is a building that would try to maximize the square footage that we can fit on that site without getting too far in the details of the planning process. We're thinking it's something like a 40,000 square foot building. What Lariat companies would like to do with that building is to have it be a small bay industrial facility. So, you know, approximate 2,000 square foot, give and take, units that would be available in that location for small businesses to operate out of. So you think about the person that's running like a CNC machine out of their garage, or maybe they're doing online retailing and they need that space to be able to, you know, keep their goods, you know, outside of the home. That sort of a thing. And then, you know, there's all sorts of other examples that I'm probably not thinking of too. So that would be the use of the site, and with the intention of what they want to do. This group recently did a similar project in Waconia, and so they built a much smaller version of what they were going to be pursuing on this site. But what they did find is that it was very well received. They filled it up very quickly. And I'm not personally surprised to hear that, because I do get calls quite frequently from groups that are looking for, you know, 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet, something in that area. And although that does exist in Chaska, it's all taken, and there's not a whole lot of turnover with that. And so it's very difficult for people to get that sort of a space. I think for the city, as we look at it, and the EDA, the goals that we've had for the site is to create jobs there. We want to create daytime population that supports the downtown business community. And so by doing something like this, I think that becomes achieved. If you think about the number of jobs that were created at the Formicote project and the number of small bays that would probably be created out of this, you kind of do a quick math in your head. I think you end up with a similar job creation, if maybe not even more, on this site is what we were able to achieve at Formicote. I think the other thing that's really good about this is it's a really good opportunity for us to be supporting the small business community, get people to be in a place that they can grow their business and hopefully move on to bigger space in Chaska too. So it becomes sort of a type of a incubator type of a space, ideally, that gets created there. So with that, the letter of intent really mirrors what we did with Formicote. We basically took what that prior, how that was set up and how we did the nature of that deal and copied it for Lariat and what they're proposing. The idea there is that we want to be consistent. It's the same redevelopment site, and so we want to be treating everyone, with a consistent approach and policy there. So we would be selling that property for $1.50 per square foot for the property, for a total of $243,065. The city would then, we've got a TIF district there, we would dedicate TIF that gets generated by this project to help with the purchase of that site. Some of those, that TIF revenue would also go to offset the area fees that would typically be charged to a development. So the TIF can be used for that. And then also to recuperate the costs that went into the pavement removal that has already occurred on the site. So we're able to make ourselves whole from that effort. So with that, I guess I would ask the EDA to consider authorizing the EDA President Pro Tem to sign the letter of intent with Lariat. If you do want to proceed in that way, I think you would expect to see Lariat moving forward pretty quickly with some site investigation. And then their objective is to be able to break ground next spring. So hopefully, we'd be seeing something come through the planning process over the winter time. If there's any questions or comments about that?
A couple questions.
Yeah.
When the businesses move in to these industrial slots, are they under our downtown business alliance? Like, is that special tax district? Does that run all the way out there?
Right now, it does not.
Okay.
No.
It basically ends at the creek.
Yep.
So basically we define our downtown by the two creeks, so the one by Arby's and the one by the bus garage. That's sort of the east and
Oh,
west.
okay.
And then the river and
The clay holes.
the clay holes
Yep.
on the north. Or actually the bridge going up on 41.
Yep.
So I'm just curious. If it ran into the district zone, would it be considered under it, even though it's zoned industrial, or no, is that not a consideration?
Yes, I think it would be part of that.
Okay, just
Yep.
more of my curiosity peeked out of there.
Yep.
And then with these, so it's industrial, but would any of these people have like a portion of it be a retail? Is that not allowed, or?
I think that's something that we're going to be looking at, is what uses would make sense and what combination of uses could make sense. Part of it is as soon as you start putting retail in there, you're going to start driving a parking demand.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be something with the developer to take a look at, what are you trying to achieve as far as, getting the square footage on there versus parking availability, and how can we create that balance? I can tell you, retail has not been the objective of that site.
Sure.
And so I don't think that's going to be the focus.
Okay, I just didn't know if there's
I
stipulations
personally
on it
think
or-
parking's gonna be the big driver there,
Right.
because with a 3.72 acre site and getting 40,000 square foot building, they're maximizing that with the parking just for industrial use.
Right.
So I think if they want, because it's not unusual, like Norditrek used to have it with the showroom that they had up at, where you could have like the product you make there, that you also have a showroom
Yeah, like
that
an
you can
outlet
sell.
center.
An
of
outlet
sorts.
center.
Yeah.
But the parking was, I remember when that place was open, there was a big parking lot that served that. So typically parking sort of knocks that out of contention.
Okay, I just was curious
Yeah.
and kind of piqued my curiosity. This is very exciting though, as just to commentate on it. Yeah, I think that, the square footage and I think it really, it fits a need. I think that, and it's attainable and it's a ground level sort of entry into a lot of businesses. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we have seen, if you look at economic development in Chaska over the years, the companies who have started small here tend to grow here. And, they're the ones that end up, going from, a 5,000 square foot building to a 20,000 square foot building, and then up to a 50,000 square foot building. And so, and then you just sort of rotate, and then you always have sort of this life cycle
cycling,
of industrial uses out there.
And that's
Well,
not
that's-
unusual. That's a pretty common thing in the commercial real estate market to see that, and that's why there's a lot of communities really going to focus on those smaller ones initially, because then they're easier to get, but then that'll give them an opportunity, because ultimately you want to keep as much business within the community, because once they start a business, then a lot of your employees either live in the community or live
Yeah.
nearby,
Yeah.
and then as you grow, you're not going to want to like relocate your employees or
Right.
start over again unless there's some huge tax incentive, right?
Well, and
So,
we've actually been the beneficiary of that from Eden Prairie.
Yeah, for sure.
Where there's one building in Eden Prairie, now Stratus is in it, but I call it the Chaska incubator, because the number of businesses that have been in that particular building that have eventually ended up in Chaska. I mean, it's because they don't have any more buildings. And so they want to expand, but it's not that big a deal for them to expand into Chaska if their employee base is in the Southwest Metro, but they're not going to, if they're in Woodbury, they're not going to, relocate to Chaska, because now they have to get a whole new employee base again.
And I think too, as our community grows and our surrounding communities grows residentially, I mean, it makes sense that we should have, industrial infrastructure in place to have these businesses come and then have the employees draw from these communities, so.
Well, I think there's also that benefit too of like now 212 is being, went out to Norwood Young America. That's a huge gain in terms of, accessibility for, greater Minnesota too. That makes us a, good destination spot for like these businesses that are growing businesses that are looking to be at a hub or transportation corridor.
And we also draw a lot of employees from Norwood, Belle Plaine,
Exactly.
Cologne. Businesses like to be on that edge because they get sort of that secondary farm economy that is a good source of employees for them.
Absolutely. A lot of good reasons. A lot of good things that work in our favor. Like they say in real estate, location, location, location.
Any other questions? All right, if not, we can make a motion. Yep, go ahead.
I'll say so moved. Oh, I'll move to approve the letter of intent for Lariat Companies.
All right, motion by Commissioner Wong,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hubbard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, approved. All right, any other business for EDA?
Luke's not here to ask
Luke's
these
not
things.
here.
No,
All right, well then.
we're not going to tell you what question you
When is that
asked.
Costco coming in?
Well, there's also another one too.
It's the
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was another Costco. I was like, we're getting two
I don't know which
Costco?
one's
That's gonna be rumor now. All right,
KFC is
Put
still
this way,
KFC.
he tends to like fried chicken.
Oh, no, Hy-Vee, let's ask about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gropp,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hubbard. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.